Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Welcome to your essay class, and today is our sixth class, and we're going to discuss something about the process essay. In the last class we have talked about the process essay theoretically, but today we're going to have kind of some of the exercises to practice and apply all the rules and the theories that we have taken last class on ground. So we're going to apply these rules on the ground, okay? So today is a practical one, and at the end we will have a kind of a short introduction to the cause and effect essay, and this is another type of essays that we have in the academic in the English academic writing. I want you to notify you that this is our textbook right here. It's called the Writing Academic English. Please try to find it in the libraries like Mabekan, Jarir, or maybe other bookstores. It's actually the 4th edition. It's very actually important. If you don't have the textbooks, or if it's not available, our classes, our recorded classes are enough for you to understand the main points and to achieve the goals of this course. First of all, let us start with our process essay, and here is kind of a review for us as it's mentioned in your textbooks, and here are some of the important points that we have covered in the last class. The first one, using chronological order to organize an essay means putting the ideas in order or sequence by occurrence in time. Second point, use chronological order for narrative essays like stories, histories, biographies, and autobiography, and for process essay, how to make or how to do or make something, okay? Point number 3, following are the 3 keys to success in writing chronological order essay. First one, group the steps or events into paragraphs where natural breaks occur. Write a thesis statement that indicates chronological order, and we said that use a chronological order signal words and phrases to show the sequence of steps in a process or events in a narration, like first, second. We have talked about these signal words. So please try today to apply all the rules that we have taken, these major points I just mentioned, on these exercises. As you can see here, we have kind of an example. I know sometimes the font is small, but you can download the PowerPoint, listen to me, and then watch the PowerPoint. Or you can do it together, okay, at the same time. Here we having a kind of a essay about understanding Chernobyl. And in this essay, it's a model for a chronological order essay process. It shows us kind of a model, okay, example of how to make a chronological order essay. So if you read here, we have actually introductory paragraph, and we have body paragraph 1, 2, and 3, and we have the conclusion. In the introductory paragraph, as you know, it usually starts with the kind of general statements, right? This is what we have learned. But here it actually starts with something different. It's not a general statement or a paraphrase. It's only actually like a paying attention introduction. Paying attention introduction. هذا الجذب القارئ. Then look at the sentence, the first sentence. Clouds of radioactive steam shoot in the sky. Full stop. So that was kind of paying attention. Wow, it's something happening in the sky. Okay, our thesis statement, you can locate it as usual at the end of the introductory paragraph. As you can read here, to understand how the accident at Chernobyl happened, it is necessary to understand how a nuclear power plant is constructed and how one operates. So we have now two steps. Okay, so he's going to mention, this is a logical division. Do you remember the lesson? Logical division. So now you're expecting the body paragraph. You can expect how many paragraphs, body paragraphs, the author is going to mention. How many? 3, right? The first one, understanding the accident, when it happened, and understanding how the nuclear is constructed and operates. So 3. So we have 3 body paragraphs, and that's very correct. If you look at the body paragraph number 1, it talks about the first point. A nuclear power plant contains a nuclear reactor that uses controlled nuclear fission to produce electricity. So it talks about contains. It talks about the parts of a nuclear reactor, which means it talks about how it is constructed. How it is constructed. يعني بتحكي عن أجزاء النيوكلير reactor. Okay? How we know that? It talks about the construction. It means, you know, this is kind of paraphrasing. It talks about what it contains, which means it talks about the construction, how it is built. So this is the body paragraph. We cover one point. In the body paragraph 2, it says how do actually nuclear reactors produce electricity. Okay? So here, how do nuclear reactors produce electricity? So it talks about how it operates, which is mentioned right here. How it produces. Produce means how it works, how it operates, right? And body paragraph number 3, how did the accident at Chernobyl happen? So, and here is the third part of our thesis statement, which is mentioned right here, to understand how the accident at Chernobyl happened. So this is what we call logical division. This is what we call chronological order. At the beginning, in the thesis statement, the author mentions 3 things. He is going to discuss or explain or argue in the body paragraphs. So if he mentions or she mentions 3 things. First, when it happened, how it operates, and how it is constructed. Okay? How it is constructed, it was mentioned in the first paragraph. How it operates, it's mentioned in the second paragraph, because it talks about it produces electricity, how it produces electricity, and the third one, how it happened at Chernobyl. So these are the 3 sections of our thesis statement in this essay. Okay, so in the conclusion, as usual, we actually summarize the major points in the thesis statement, body paragraphs 1, 2, 3, right? It's a summary. Summarize the whole or the major points. But in this example, if you look or read it, in the end, let's read it together. In the end, the cost of Chernobyl accident was enormous. Thousands had to be evacuated and resettled, and the soil around Chernobyl will remain contaminated for years. The lesson from Chernobyl is this. So, as you can see, the lesson of Chernobyl is this, which means the author is trying to mention a suggestion, a solution. Okay? So it wasn't like a summary for the major points. So here we have different kind of a conclusion right here. We usually say that conclusion summarize the major points, right? in the thesis statement in the body paragraphs. Is that clear? But here, the conclusion, the author in the conclusion suggests a solution, give us a suggestion. So, was that clear? The lesson was, a well-designed nuclear power plant using normal fuel is not dangerous as long as proper safety procedures are followed. However, poor design or disregard for safety regulations can lead to catastrophe. So that was a conclusion. It was a suggestion. It was a lesson. Okay? So, let us now answer the following questions. Writing technique question. So we have analyzed it quickly without reading the without reading the whole essay line by line. لاحظتوا كيف ما قرأنا ولا شيء إلا بدايات كل فقرة منها ونهايات أحيانا إذا استصعب علينا الفهم. لكن الآن أنا what I have done is I have just read the first line of each paragraph. I have analyzed the thesis statement. I have noticed there was a chronological order. I have noticed there was a logical divisions. How come I know the logical division? According to the thesis statement. In the thesis statement, it mentions three things. It mentions something about when it happened in Chernobyl, how the nuclear is constructed, and how it operates. Okay, and then in my body paragraphs, I have written each of the three in an independent paragraph. كتبت كل واحد يكون نقطة فيه paragraph مستقلة. So hopefully is that clear now. Now let us together answer these questions. The first question, what is the thesis statement? How does it indicate that at least part of this essay will use a chronological organization? Okay, let us answer it. So the answer is the thesis statement to understand how the accident at Chernobyl happened. Okay, that was on the last sentence in the introductory paragraph. You can read it now. It says, to understand how the accident at Chernobyl happened, it is necessary لاحظ من الضروري to understand how a nuclear power plant is constructed and how one it operates. So that was our thesis statement. Okay, and as you can see here, the thesis statement indicates a chronological order by indicating that the essay will explain أول نقطة how the accident happened and how a nuclear is constructed and how one it operates. How one operates. So that was a chronological order, step by step. This is what we call chronological order. Question number 2. Which two paragraphs explain processes, how something works or how something happens? What two processes are explained? وحكينا عنهم في البادي paragraphs إنه في كان عندنا two processes, right? Or how something works or operates. Let us answer the following question. The answer is body paragraph 2 explains how nuclear reactors produce electricity, and body paragraph 3 explains how the Chernobyl accident happened. So that was simply the answer for question 2. We have two paragraphs explaining processes. The first one is how to produce electricity, and the second one, how the accident happened in Chernobyl. Number 3, which paragraph describes the design of a nuclear power plant? Describe the design. شو يعني design? Construction. شو يعني construction? What it contains, what it consists of. Okay? What it consists of and what it contains. So if we go back to the essay, we will find it in paragraph 1. In paragraph 1, it says in the first line, a nuclear power plant contains a nuclear reactor that was controlled So that was control fashion to produce electricity. So body paragraph 1 explains the design of a nuclear power plant. How come I know? Because we have words like consist of, contains, and it's mentioned twice or maybe 3 times. Number 4, what kind of introduction does this essay have? funeral أو attention getting. شو كانت هي؟ funeral ولا attention getting? I guess we have talked about it and said that it's attention getting introduction. ليه؟ لأن أول كلمة أو أول سطر, the first line was clouds of radioactive steam shoot in the sky. هذه كانت هي يعني تشد القارئ إنه something is happening in the sky. Something is happening in the sky. So that was attention getting introduction. احنا حكينا على funeral introduction وحكينا بأنه هي you start with a general statement, then you go back to the thesis statement. That was a funeral. Okay? That's great. Number 5, the last question. What kind of conclusion does it have? Does it summarize the main points or paraphrase the thesis? Or is it a different kind? Does it give a final comment? So, in your opinion, is this kind of conclusion appropriate for this essay at the end? Let us actually look at the conclusion. We said that in the conclusion, in the end, it doesn't give us a summary for the major points that we have discussed in the thesis statement, in the body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and body paragraph 3. لاحظوا في conclusion, it doesn't mention any of these major points. It doesn't mention how the power plant or what color plants contains and how it produces electricity, and it doesn't mention how the accident happened at Chernobyl. So what was it? What was the conclusion? What kind of conclusion we have? This kind of conclusion is called a comment. That was a comment, just تعليق. So it is a different kind. It's neither a summary nor a paraphrase. It gives a final comment that well-designed nuclear power plant is safe as long as safety procedures are followed. So that was a comment. So hopefully you've got the idea of how to understand, of how to do or to make a chronological order essay, how to start, how to write in the body paragraphs, how to make a logical division, and what to write in your conclusion, which is usually a summary, but for here it wasn't a summary, it was a comment. Now, do you think this conclusion was appropriate or inappropriate for such kind of essay? I guess it was inappropriate for myself. Okay, because here you need to, or maybe it depends on the person himself. It might be appropriate because it gives us suggestions by the author. Okay, but why it's inappropriate? Because if you want to mention your opinion, you should mention other people's opinions, right? But in this one, in this essay, the author or the writer does not write others' opinions. He is just giving what? He's just giving his own opinion. So this is kind of this is the weak side for his writing. I suggest that he should mention something like a summary for what he has mentioned in the body paragraph 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let us move on. And here we are having like thesis statement for chronological order. We want to see which one of these sentences has a chronological order. Okay, so we need to put one check for the thesis statement that suggests a chronological order, but a double check that next to the thesis statement that suggests the essay will describe a process or procedure. So في عندنا chronological order، في عندنا process or procedure. خلينا نشوف. أول واحدة we put a single check on sentence 5 because it talks about chronological order. خلينا نقرأها. The tensions that led to last year's students' riots had been developing for several years. Several years بدل على إيش؟ على تعاقب زمني, chronological order. Let us see another one. Okay, number 10, the life cycle of monarch butterfly is an interesting phenomenon. So here we put also a single check because it talks about chronological order. The indicator was life cycle, دورة الحياة. وهذا هو تعاقب زمني. أما بالنسبة ل 4, the procedure for submitting inspection reports have recently changed. So we put what? Check or double check? It is a double check. Why? Because it talks about a procedure. And then we move the preparation for the poisonous puffer fish for eating is a delicate process that is not for mature chiefs. Okay, so here it's mentioned the word process, so it talks about a process. Okay, so here we put double checks because it talks about a process. Now here are some of the chronological order signal words or phrases that you can use to make your essay chronological in a chronological order. So as you can see here, it gives you some of these chronological order signal words and some of their uses. And here it gives you example. For example, it mentioned first, choose a destination for your camping trip, then make a list of supplies and equipment. Last of all, have a good time, and meanwhile have a supply of clean rags ready, and gradually increases your child's allowance, and so on. And also it talks about the subordinators like after, as soon as, and so on. And here are some other chronological order signal words that you can read by yourself, and these are all of them are examples how to use them. Okay, and I guess that you are familiar with all these signal words because you know you have been they have been actually studied for years and years, right? So hopefully you have got the idea of the chronological order. And here we have a kind of a practice or exercise for the chronological order signal words, the one we have just seen in the previous slide. Okay, so here reread the model essay on pages 82, 83, find the and circle all the chronological order signal words, time phrases, and time clauses. We have just discussed right here the slide before. We have talked about the here in this essay we have talked about the Chernobyl accident. So the question is to reread it and try to find the time phrase. Okay, try to find the time phrases. Well, I have done one of them, and I found that in the introduction, it's not in the body actually, in the introduction, okay, it's in the introduction, it has time period that was in April 1986. So that was a chronological order, right? It was what? It was a time period. So you can do the rest. You please just find as much as you can in body paragraph 1 and 2 and 3 and the conclusion. So I will leave this for you because I have done enough and I have answered enough questions for such part of lessons. Number 2, fill in each blank when appropriate chronological order signals form the list provided. I have shown you on the previous slide. You can choose any chronological or the appropriate chronological signal words and fill in these blanks. So let us read this together. Here it gives you kind of the kind of the chronological signal words that you have to use to fill in these blanks. How to annoy a teacher. It talks about how to annoy a teacher. It is quite easy to annoy a teacher, even the most patient, kind-hearted teacher in the world, if you follow these simple steps. First, always come to class just a little late. Second, make as much noise as possible as you enter the room. And then next, greet all your friends with cheerful wave, or even better, with a shouting greeting. Before you sit down, slam your heavy backpack down on the floor next to your desk and do a few stretching exercises. After all, you'll be sitting still for the next 40 minutes or so. Finally, make a big gaping yawn and take your seat. And as soon as the lesson begins, raise your hand and ask to execute to go to the restroom. And when you return, be sure to slam the door, and again, make as much noise as possible by taking your seat. In the next few minutes, turn the pages of your book noisily, search in your backpack for a pencil, ask your neighbor if you can borrow an eraser, and announce in a loud voice that you cannot find your homework. And then raise your hand and ask to be excused to look for it in your locker. If the teacher should happen to call on you during the class, mumble an answer, and when he or she asks you to speak up, mumble again, maybe a little louder this time, but still not loud enough to be heard. If the teacher dares to ask you a third time, give a loud and clear answer to a previous question, the one your classmate answered a minute ago, and then smile smugly and as you do so. And in conclusion, if these techniques do not achieve the desired results, you can always fold your arms across your desk, put your hair down, and just take a nap. Just do not forget to snore. So that was a funny and a very funny kind of passages about how to annoy your professors. But you actually mature enough to not do it in your classes. But here actually it's just kind of a short example how to use the signal words, chronological actually signal words, chronological order signal words in examples. So this is kind of a short example for transition signals for chronological order. And here we have another reading that in this actually reading, it also gives you the opportunity to do another exercise for the chronological order. So I will leave it for you. Please just do it by yourself. Just as I have done the first one, you can do the second one. Just try to remember the rules and apply them on the apply it on the ground. So here actually it gives you also the answer, but try to do it by yourself. Okay, let us move now to the cause and effect essay. So for the last slide, you can do it by yourself. Read it and then answer it. Now, for the last slide, we're going to talk about cause and effect essay. And in here, we will talk about
the title of this presentation is Cause and Effect Essay. Basically, this is an essay. This is a presentation which will explain how is it that you should go about writing a cause and effect essay.
So we're going to talk about the cause and effect. Cause and effect depend on each other. This is what you should understand. You cannot have one without the other. For example, a plane crashed. This is the effect. What are the possible causes? Was it a mechanical or human error? Was it due to the weather? Was it a terrorist action? Obviously, there are many causes. So we have an effect and we have a cause. Every cause has an effect, and every effect has a cause. So every cause has an effect, and every effect has a cause. Okay? First of all, how to write a cause and effect essay? It's very actually simple one. First of all, you need to select a significant topic, for example, social phenomena or social trend, social like phenomena like teenage rebellion, teenage violence, domestic abuse, environmental crisis, pollution. All of these are social phenomena. You can make a cause and effect essay using these topics. And second, social trends like why the reasons or the causes of increasing number of teenage pregnancy, or the increasing in computer science majors. So all of these are some social trends and phenomena that you can use to write about cause and effect essays. First, step number 2, after you've decided the topic, you have to decide whether you want to examine the cause or effect or both of them. Usually people write about both of them, the effects and the causes. Okay? Step number 3, examine each cause and effect thoroughly using sufficient evidence to prove your points. So here you need to examine each cause and its effects and provide some examples, okay? Some facts and some examples, some evidences. The patterns of cause and effect essays are the following. If you're talking about cause to effect pattern, then you have to have the following patterns, the following structure. First one is the introduction, where you mention the thesis statement, then you mention the first effect, the second effect, the third effect, and the conclusion. So this is how to mention cause to effect pattern. We will talk about this, inshallah, in the coming class in details. And the second one, it is the effect to cause pattern. And here you have to mention, first of all, the introduction, the thesis statement, causes, and then the conclusion. So at least each essay should have 3 paragraphs. Okay? Remember, we will explain all of these points. This is just kind of an introduction to our topic. Next class, cause and effect essay. Here we have a guideline for writing cause and effect essay. First of all, in the introduction you have a lead-in where you introduce a topic, and then transition paragraph or sentence to present popular assumption of the cause or effect concerning the topic, and then your thesis statement, you present your speculation about the causes or effects of the topics, at least 3 causes or 3 effects. And in the body paragraph, you need to have at least 3 body paragraphs about the topic. The first body paragraph should have a topic sentence where you present the first cause or the first effect, and then your supporting details where you explain it and provide examples. And at the end, you have to close. You have to have a closing remarks where you link the back to the topic sentence. Okay, the examples back to the sentence. In the body paragraph 2, you do the same thing as you did in the body paragraph 1. So in the topic sentence, you present the cause or the effect, then you explain it and provide it with supporting details, you support it with more details, and then you try to have in closing remarks and collect it with the topic sentence. And the same you do in body paragraph number 3. Well, in the conclusion, what you only want to do is to restate the thesis statement, or you can offer a solution or share insight. Do you remember the first example we have taken? It wasn't, the conclusion did not give us a kind of a summary for the major points, but actually it gave us a kind of a solution, right, or a suggestion or a comment. So hopefully that you have got the major points of this class, the major elements of this class. The first one was how to apply the rules of chronological orders on the examples. We have taken many exercises, maybe 2 exercises. I left one for you to do it at home. And then the second was kind of a short introduction to our topic tomorrow, or maybe in the next class, about cause and effect essays. Thank you so much for listening. Wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.